Hey guys, and welcome to this video. In this video, we're going to talk about Unit 7, ratio and proportion. 7.1, writing ratios and how to write ratios in the simplest form. We need to understand ratios and how to write them in the simplest form. For example, here, this question is about finding the highest common factor of each pair of numbers. Now, let me explain this. Finding the highest common factor of numbers is very important. Let's take something big like this one. To find the highest common factor between numbers, let's use the whole space here. First thing you do, you have to break down the numbers. Some people use the factors method, and some people use the prime numbers or the prime factors method. Whatever method you like, you can use it. Let me explain the factors method. The factors method is taking the 63 and breaking it down to its factors. So basically, the factors will be 1 times what, 2 times what, 3 times what, 4 times what, 5 times what, 6 times what, and 7 times what. This is called the factors method. It's not the prime factors method. This is the factors method. And you're going to do the same for the 72. For the 72, let me do. Okay, paste. Okay. So I'm going to do the same for the 72. Let me copy this and put it here for the 72. Paste. So same idea. I'm going to use 1 times what, 2 times what, till I get the factors or the common factors between them. I'm going to start with the 63. The 63 will be 1 times 63. Very good. And then can I use 2 with it? The 63 cannot be divided by 2 because it has the 3 here. So it can't be divided by 2. So the 2, I'm not going to use it. And then can I use the 3? So I'll divide 63 by 3. Yes, it's 21. Good. 21. And then can I use the 4? If I can't use the 2, it means I can't use the 4. That's the basic method of dividing. Okay. Can I use the 5 with 63? You can divide it by 5 because it's finished with a 3, and 3 is not divisible by 5. Can I use the 6? So 63 divide 6. It can't be 2 because it's not divisible by 2. It means it's not divisible by 6. And the last one, which is the 7, yes, 63 can be divided by 7, and the answer is 9. So here it's a 9. So it means I found all the factors that are used to build a 63. But these ones, the ones I didn't use, I can remove them like this. So I don't look at them, okay? Same idea with the 72. I'm going to try to find the factors of 72. It's 1 times 72. It can be divided by 2. Yes, because it ends with a 2. So the answer is 36. 36, yes. Here. Can I divide it by 3? So 72. It can be divided by 3, yes, which is 24. Same idea with 4. If I can divide it by 2, I can divide by 4, right? Because 72 divide 4, yes, will give me 18. It's like dividing 36 by 2, yes. Now, can I divide by 5? It doesn't end with 2 or 0, so it means it can't be divided by 5. So focus on these divisible rules. Now, can I divide it by 6? 72 divide 6. Yes, it can be because I can divide it by 2 and 3. It means it can be divided by 6. And the answer is 12. And then 72, because it's missing 8, it means it can't be divided by 7. So 7 is not possible. Now I cover the ones that I didn't use. Now I have all the factors of 63 here and all the factors of 72. Now I want to find the highest common factor between them, highest common factor. Um, when I look, I have 1, 3, 7, 9, 21, and 63. Here I have 1, 2, 3. The common ones here we have 3. Yes, highest common factor is 3 here. We didn't use the 4 here, not nor the 6, 12, nor the 18. Um, we didn't use the 18, right? because 63 can't be divided. Yes, can't be divided by 10. So 63 and 72. Yes. Let's see. So here, let me continue this. Here I can add 8 and 9. I can use the 9 because I noticed that there's nothing in common except the 3. And I'm checking. So I think 72, yes, can be divided by 9, which gives me 8. This means what? It means the highest common factor between the 72 and the 63 is a 9. And this is the way or the method of using the factors. Now, let me show you how do you use prime factors to find the answer of this question. So first, let me remove these. Let's remove them like this. Let's cover them. Okay. Now I'm going to use the factors method. Let's use the factors method here. Yes. The prime factors method. Here myself. So first thing I do, I take the 63 like this, divide it by 2. The answer will be, can I divide by 2? I can't. So I'm going to go to the next prime number, which is 3. So to divide this by 3, 63 by 3, is going to be 21. And then divide the 21 by 3, it's going to be 7. And then divide the 7 by 7, it's going to be 1. When you reach the 1, you can stop. Okay? When you reach the 1, you can stop. And then, same idea with the 72. I'm going to start dividing 72. I'll divide it by 2. Divide it by 2. This will give me what? 72 divide 2 is going to be 36. And then divide 36 by 2. Okay? It's going to be 18. And then divide 18 by 2 is going to be 9. And then divide by 3 is going to be 3. And then divide by 3 is going to be 1. And then you can stop. Once you reach the 1, you can stop. Now, this method is called the prime factors method or the prime factor decomposition. Now, I take a look at the answers that I got as a prime number, this group and this group. And then I take the ones in common. I take the ones in common. So I have a 3 here and a 3 here. And then 3 here and a 3 here. Each two in common, I take one of them. So these two threes, this and this, I take one of them. And this, I take one of them. And multiply them by each other. So 3 times 3 will equal 9. So 9 is the highest common factor between these two numbers. Now let's move on to the next question. Focus on the idea of finding the highest common factor between two numbers. Now, let's take a look at these. We're going to talk about ratios here. Here, write the ratio of red beads to white beads for each of these. So, red to white. It means write how many reds first. So, first one here, how many reds? 3, good. And then 2 dots. And how many whites? There are 2. Very good. Now, how many reds? Good, it's 2. And then, how many whites? It's 3. Good. How many red here? Red are 3. And then how many white? They are 4. And this is how you write the ratios in order of the letters or the words that they said. So focus on writing ratios. Now let's move on to the next one. Now, when I say the ratio of 3 to 2, is it the same as 2 to 3? Very good. It's not, because each number represents something. For example, 3 to 2, let's say 3 to 2 here, 3 white to 2 red. So white, red. But here it's going to be red, white. So it's not the same. Now decide whether each statement is sensible or makes sense. Okay. The ratio of your hand length to face length is 1 to 1. It means the length of your hand is the same as the length of your face. When I say 1 to 1, it means they are the same. Is that sensible? It's not. This is false. Now, the ratio of height to width of a car is 5 to 1. Now, the height of a car, okay, the height of a car and the width of a car, is it 5 to 1? Maybe it's not that 5 to 1, maybe 3 to 1. So this one doesn't make a lot of sense, maybe. And then the ratio of width to height of a computer screen is 3 to 4. The width is 3. and the height is 4. I think it's the upside down, in which the height, basically the tallest one is the height. It's the height. So the height from here till here, and the width is over here. So yeah, we can say the width is 3, the height is 4. Yes. Now let's move on to the next question. Let's talk about ratios and how to answer questions with ratios. Now here, a necklace has 2 black beads for every 5 white beads. So every 5, it has 2 black. This means, let's cover them like this. What is the ratio of black beads to white beads? First, a necklace has 2 black for every 2 white. We need the ratio of black to white. So when we write it, black is 2, so we write it 2, and then ratio, and then the white will be 5, so 2 to 5. That's the ratio of black to white. And then copy these 10 white beads. Draw 2 black beads for every 5 white beads. So each 5 will have 2 black. So that's a black one, example, and that's a black one for the upper one or upper 5. And then here, same idea, that's a black one, and that's a black one. So each 5 white ones has 2 black ones, okay? Now write the ratio of black beads to white beads. So how many blacks? Very good, 4. And how many whites? Yeah. Draw 2 black beads for every. Draw, not cover this with black. Okay, it's different, yes. So it's draw, not cover. So if we each 5 white ones has 2 black ones next to them like this. So that's a black one. Let's make it as a circle. Yes, let's make it as a circle. Yes, sorry for the confusion. That's a black one, and that's a black one. And these 5 here, they will have next to them 2 black beads. So black, black. So now let's write the ratio of black to white. Black it's 4, and white it's 10. So 4 to 10. Uh, 4 to 10 like this. Okay. So 4 to 10. 4 black, 10 white. Now the question is, are the ratios in parts A and B the same? This and this. Are they the same? Now after simplifying, yes, they are the same. So when you simplify, you'll divide this by 2 and divide this by 2. So when you divide 4 by 2 is going to be 2, and divide 10 by 2 is going to be 5. So the ratio will be 2 to 5. This means that this ratio and this ratio are the same. Now let's move on to the next question. Now we're going to talk about something called equivalent ratios. As we did here, these two ratios, 4 to 10 and 2 to 5, are called equivalent. And the word equivalent means they are equal to each other. They are equal to each other. Now, equivalent ratios, they will have a sense of enlargement. It means they've been enlarged by multiplying or dividing both of them by the same number. Now, here, for example, let's take one of the questions. Which of these ratios are equivalent to the ratio 1 to 2? Okay, it means we have to simplify them and then say if it gives me 1 to 2. Okay, so let's talk about the first one. When we simplify, we divide both of them by the same number. Divide by 2, divide by 2. So divide by 2 is going to be 1. Divide by 2 is going to be 2. So the answer will be 1, 2, 2. So the first one is good. The first ratio is good. Now the second one, let's check B. Divide this by 2, or divide it by 4 is going to give me 2. Divided by 4 is going to give me 3. So divide 4, divide 4. Divide 4 is going to give me 2, and divide 4 is going to give me 3. So this one, the second one, is not 1 to 2. So this means it's not good. Second one here, or the third one, 6 to 12, I'm going to divide by 6 and divide by 6. So when you divide by 6, the first one, it's going to be 1. And then divide 12 by 6 is going to be 2. So they are equivalent to 1 to 2. So this one is equivalent. And then D, same idea. I'm going to divide by 5 and divide by 5. So when you divide this by 5, it's going to be 1. and divide this by 5 is going to be 2. So it is equivalent to 1 to 2. This is the meaning or the idea of equivalent ratios. Now let's move on to the next question. Now the next questions will be the same. Okay, same idea, ratios, and how to answer them using ratios. Now let's take a look at question 8. 10 grams of copper reacts with 5 grams of sulfur. Write the ratio of copper to sulfur. Okay. Now both of them have the same unit. So it means I'm going to write copper to sulfur, which is 10 to 5. So it's going to be 10 to 5. So the ratio of copper to sulfur is 10 to 5. Now the question is how much sulfur is needed to react with 20 grams of copper? Now we said that the first one is the copper and the second one is sulfur. So we write CNS. So how much sulfur? We need the sulfur that reacts with 20 grams of copper. So this one will become 20. This one will become 20. Okay. Now, if this one increases, this one will increase too. We call this what? We call this direct proportion, or we call it proportion, proportional uh, numbers or proportional ratios, or we are talking about equivalent ratios, same idea. So how did the 10 become 20? How did this 10 become 20? Very good, by multiplying by 2. So here, we multiplied by 2 to make it 20. It means I'm going to do the same idea here, multiply by 2, and I'll get the answer for the question. So 5 multiplied by 2 will give me the answer of the question. So the answer is 10. And this is how you answer a question like this, and this is how you solve proportional uh, ratios. Now, that's question B. Question C, how much copper is needed to react with 25 grams of sulfur? I'm going to use the same method here. I'm going to use the same idea. So I'm going to do it here. So as we said, copper and sulfur, 10 to 5. The question is how much copper is needed. So this one will be empty, right? To react with 25 grams of sulfur. So sulfur will be 25. Now, same idea. How did the 5 become 25? Very good. By multiplying by 5. So this one is multiplied by 5. And I'm going to do the same idea here. So this one will be multiplied by 5. And it will give me the answer of the question. So 10 times 5 will give me, very good, 50. So the answer is 50 grams of copper. And this is how you answer a question like this. Now let's move on to the next question. Now, here, simplify ratios, same idea as we talked before. Let's take one of them. For example, this one, 36 and 18. To simplify ratios, it means you have to find the common factor or the highest common factor between them so you can divide by it. So, for example, 36 and 18, you'll notice that both of them are in the times table of 2. So 2 times, yes, 2, yes, 2 times 9 is 18, 2 times 18 is 36. It means you can simplify by dividing by 18 because it's the highest common factor between them. So divide 18, it's going to give me 1. And divide this by 18, it's going to give me 2. So the answer is 2 to 1, like this. And this is the ratio in its simplest form. So basically, look for the highest common factor, use it to simplify the ratios. Now, let's move on to the next question. The idea of simplifying the ratios is easy once you focus on the highest common factor. Now, ratios, sometimes they are two, sometimes you have three ratios. You're going to follow the same methods, same ideas. Even with these, you're going to look for the highest common factor and then use it to simplify. So, for example, here, let's simplify one of these. Let's take C. They have the same ideas. Once you find the highest common factor, you can simplify. So here, when you look at the ratios, 25, 20, and uh, 20, 45. So all of them are in the times table of 5. It means I can simplify by dividing by 5. divide 5, divide 5, divide 5. So 25 divide 5 is going to be 5. Focus on the steps. So 25 divide 5 is 5, and then ratio. 20 divide 5 is 4, and then ratio. 45 divide 5 is 9, and this is the ratio in its simplest form. So focus when you simplify on finding the highest common factor, use it to simplify ratios. Same idea here, 99, 77, and 33. Looks like the highest common factor is 11. So divide by 11, divide by 11, divide by 11. So divide by 11 is going to be 9, and then ratio. Divide 11 is 7, then ratio. Divide 11 is 3, and then this is the final answer, the simplified ratio for this ratio. Now, let's move on to the next question. All questions have the same ideas now. You'll have ratios and simplify them, write them in the simplest form. Make sure when you simplify ratios, they have the same units. They have the same units. For example, if we're talking about these and we want to simplify, for example, here, 1 day, 6 hours. They have different units. To simplify ratios, you must have the same units. So first, we have to make them the same. So here, 1 day, 6 hours. 1 day has how many hours? Very good, 24 hours. So 24 hours to 6 hours. Now I can simplify. Once they have the same units, I can simplify them. And the highest common factor that I'm going to divide by is what? Very good. It's the 6. So divide 6, divide 6. 24 divide 6 is going to be 4. And then ratio. 6 divide 6 is going to be 1. And the simplest form of the ratio is 4 to 1. And this is how you answer a question like this. Now let's take a look at another one so we can understand the idea of simplifying ratios. Same idea. This one will be 48 hours, and then you simplify 50 minutes and 60 minutes. 14 days, 2 weeks. So 2 weeks, you can make it 14 days, same idea, and then you simplify it. Divide by 14 is going to be 1 to 1. Same idea here, 15 and 60 minutes. Divide by 15, it's going to be 1. Divide by 60 is going to be 4. So 1 to 4. And this is how you simplify ratios. Now, simplest form of ratios, it means no decimals, no fractions. So this means what? Let's take a look at this one. For example, you're going to write these ratios in their simplest forms. So first, let's cover this. So it means no decimals, no decimals. So here, 2.5, I need to multiply it by a number to make it a whole number. 2.5, when I multiply it by 2, let's write them here. If I multiply 2 by 2.5, I will get what? Very good, I will get 5. So 2 times 2.5, I will get 5. Now here, I removed the decimal point. So it means I made this 5. And how did this become 5? Very good, by multiplying by 5, by 2. So this one multiplied by 2 here. It means I'm going to do the same idea here. I'm going to multiply this by 2, and it will give me the answer of the ratio. So 1 multiplied by 2, it will give me the answer. So 1 times 2 is 2. So the final answer, or the simplified ratio, is 2 to 5. And this is how you answer a question like this. So basically, simplified ratios, it means no decimals or no fractions. So how do you find this? You start multiplying by 2, and then by 3, and then by 4, until you get rid of the decimals. And this is how you find the simplest form of ratios. Let's take another one. This one is 3 and 0.25. So same idea. Let's answer this. So here, 3.25. If you multiply 2 by 3.25, the answer will be what? 2 times 0.25 is going to be 0.5. So it's going to be 6.5, right? Now I'm still having a decimal here in which I don't want that. Okay, if I multiply by 3, 3 times 3.25, the answer will be what? Very good. It's going to be 9.75. I'm still having a decimal. Now I'm going to multiply by 4. 4 times 3.25. The answer is what? Very good. It's going to be 13 because 4 times 3 is 12 and 4 times 0.25 is, very good, is 1. So 12 plus 1 is going to be 13. Now I got rid of the decimals, so this one is 13. How did this become 13? Very good, by multiplying by 4. So I'm going to do the same here. Multiply by 4. And same thing here, multiply by 4. So this times 4 and this one times 4. So when we multiply this by 4, we'll get 13. So 1 times 4 will be 4. So the final answer for the simplified ratio is 4 to 13. And this is how you answer a question like this. Now let's move on to the next question. Same idea of simplifying ratios, same idea. Now that's it for this lesson. Let's move on to the next lesson. So in the next lesson, we're going to talk about sharing in a given ratio. It means I'm going to have a total number, and then I'm going to share it between 2 or 3 people using a certain ratio. Let's take a look at the examples. First, these are equivalent ratios. As we said, equivalent ratios, you have to focus on what happened to the ratios so you can do it to the other ratio. So the first one from 2 became a 6. How did it become a 6? Very good. By multiplying by 3. Good. So focus on this step. Yes, let me cover this so we can work here. So, as we said, focus on this. So the 2 was multiplied by 3 to get a 6. I'm going to do the same here. It means I'm going to multiply the 5 by 3. So here, this one is multiplied by 3 to get the 6. It means I'm going to take the 5 and multiply it by 3, which gives me 15. Very good. Now, that's the idea of equivalent ratios. Check what happened to the first ratio, and then do the same to the other ratio. Same idea here. How did the 3 become 15? How did this 3 become 15? Very good. By multiplying by 5. Multiplying by 5. I'm going to do the same here for the 10. So multiply the 10 by the 5. It will give me 50. And this is how you find equivalent ratios. Now, let's move on to the next question. Now, simplest form, we talked about it. We understand it. No need to revise it again. Let's go ahead to the ratio questions. So the ratio questions, let's take one from 2 ratios and then one from 3 ratios. So the question is, pair this in the ratio of 5 to 7. Focus on these steps because they are very important. First, let's cover this. First step you do is what? Because I know this is a total number, focus. These steps are done when you have a total number only. If this one is a total number, you can do that. So, first thing I do, I'm going to add the ratios. So, I'm going to add 5 and 7. So, 5 plus 7 equals, very good, 12. So, we have a 12. Now, we take the total number, which is 120, and divide it by 12. Divide it by 12. So, 120 divide 12. And the answer is 10. So first thing we did, we added the ratios, and then we divided the total number by the total ratios. So that's how you find the number that you use to divide the money using a certain ratio. So first thing we added the ratios, and then we divide the total number by the total ratios. We got a number. We take this number, which is the 10, multiply it by each ratio, and we will get our answer. So 10 will be multiplied by the 5 and then multiplied by 7. So 10 times 5 is going to be 50, and then 10 times 7 is going to be 70. This means the 120 divided by these ratios is 50 to 70. And that's the idea of answering a question like this. Now, let's check the other ones. These are the same. You add them, divide 60 by 6 is going to be 10, times the 10 by the 4 and the 2. Same idea with all questions to ratios. Same idea, sharing using a ratio. Now, let's use this. Same idea. In a class, let's answer this question. Sorry. In a class, the ratio of girls to boys, the ratio of girls to boys is 4 to 5. There are 27 students. It means the total number is 27. Find how many are the boys. The boys are the second ones, which are 5. So basically, first you add the ratios, 4 and 5. So 4 plus 5 will equal 9. That's the first step you do. And then you take the total number divided by the total ratio. So 27 divide 9 will give me 3. Now I'm going to take the 3 multiplied by the number they need. They said how many boys are there. The ratio of the boys is the 5. So it means I'm going to multiply the 3 by the 5 and I'll get my answer. So 3 times 5 equals 15 boys. And this is the idea of sharing using a certain ratio. Now, this one or these methods or these steps, we use them when we have two ratios. Same idea with three ratios. Same idea with three ratios. You just have to add the ratios and then divide the total number by the total ratios and then use the number that you have multiplied by the ratios to get the answer of the question. Now let's move on to the next lesson. Here we have proportion. Now, I'm gonna stop this video and make another video about proportion and proportionality and inverse proportion. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.